All right, so continuing, this is our second conversation this week on what has been a statewide story, really regional, honestly, a national conversation writ large when you really think about it. But that, of course, was Brown Medicine's initial decision, or at least floating the idea that they were going to close the birthing center at Newport Hospital. In our previous conversation, we laid out some of the very specific reasons why this was and would potentially be in the future a major problem from an aesthetic standpoint, from a practical standpoint, and from a question of what kind of world do you want to live in standpoint. Brooke Cure also on Moms Over Margins, an organization that led the charge on this on a community level. Brooke, thanks so much for your time and take us through your journey in this. When did you find out that Brown was thinking about closing the birthing center at Newport Hospital, and what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I found out about this actually through Facebook. I had seen a post that was shared in a local group that this was sort of a conversation that was coming up. And the nurses at Newport Hospital and the birthing center were trying to raise awareness, and it was kind of coming down to a vote. So it was not before Brown said something, but sooner around that. And I was devastated. I couldn't believe that this was even an option for Brown to do. So I sort of jumped into action from there. And when I saw that there was an opportunity to attend a city council meeting and voice our concerns and learn more, I definitely jumped at the opportunity.
And from your standpoint, kind of in those initial days, what was the groundswell of support for your cause like? How much energy was there behind this? Did it really start to become a snowball once you and other people started to get involved? I guess in some, what was the time frame of, hey, this is likely happening to, hey, we've got a movement here?
Very quickly. So from the city council meeting, I knew Cassie through a mom group that we were both a part of. We had both attended and seen each other there, and she had reached out to me knowing that, I have a background in marketing, and I had expressed interest in, keeping the birthing center open. And so she called me. I was actually on vacation, and she said, "Hey, I really want to, advocate for this." And I was in right from the beginning. So from that conversation, that we created the Instagram, Facebook group that day and just really mobilized on it from that moment forward. I think it was about 10 days from that initial conversation with Cassie to the rally. So very, very quickly, people hopped on board pretty much right away. I think that the community feels extremely passionate about keeping the birthing center open. So there was just no question in people supporting it.
Right. And also, I think, there's also this, I don't know how to even frame this in a practical sense, but there's this idea of, hey, Brown is, they're a new organization sort of formed out of a merger that couldn't happen, and they've got some buzzwords on their website. They want to be a part of the community, and yet this was going to have a real devastating impact, even psychologically, on the community. So
Yeah.
having an infrastructure of people-powered, not political, not elected officials. That's separate. That's important. Not city officials. Obviously, with Chief Donnelly and people, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that went into this, but it's important to have actual human beings who are civilians on the ground in this conversation. What sort of bond did you form? Do you think this brought the community closer together and in fighting this issue, at least within your orbit here?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really amazed by just the people who reached out that looked for any opportunity to get involved or were looking for more information on how they could attend the march or the rally. And I think it just shows that this wasn't, I mean, in my opinion, like it's a nonpartisan issue. I think everyone in the community was really rallying behind saving the birthing center and just looking for any opportunity to do so. I think it really brought people together. And when we were putting together the rally, it was sort of, as you were mentioning, us just being like quote unquote normal people, not appointed community members. We really wanted people to have their voice heard, these people who have had, life-threatening, or, positive or any sort of experience at Newport Birthing Center, and just really give the testimony to why the institution should stay open.
Right. And I think that that is what ultimately, in tandem with elected officials, moved the corporation, for lack of a better term,
Yeah,
to make
absolutely.
the decision. So, okay, so this is sort of a repeat from our previous interview, but um, with Cassie. But look, they're staying this. They're saying that it might not pop up in the future, but they're not saying with any definitive commitment, hey, guess
Mhm.
what? This is permanent, and you can rest assured that if you're having a child in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, there'll be a birthing center in place. So, what's the
Mhm.
next step in advocating for fundamentally for there just to be an immutable truth that so long as Newport Hospital is standing, or so long as it's the exclusive hospital on Aquidneck Island, that there will be a birthing center there. How do you make sure that you get to that next step? What is it going to take on a community basis?
Yeah, great question. I think we just have to continue building on the momentum and making sure that I know, as I'm sure you've gone over this, but Brown University said they're going to put together a task force to really look at the big picture for the birthing center. And I think I haven't been made aware of how or who is going to be on that task force, but I think just making sure that there's community members that are really representative of all of the Aquidneck community, and making sure that those voices are heard. I'd be really interested to know how that task force is going to be assembled and who will be on it. But
Right.
from like a community standpoint, from like where Cassie and I are at, is we'll continue to work with the incredible coalition that helped us, put together the rally, put together the march, help move the ball forward in this first battle. So working with some of our state representatives, our local city council members, other members from the community who have been super passionate about moving this forward. Um, Colexicon Latina, like there's so many people who are so instrumental in this. Newport has so continuing to have conversations with them and understanding how we can unite and continue to keep the momentum going forward, and then just continuing to stay on top of the next steps that Brown puts forward, or any other important key players.
Right. I think this is a great story when it comes to the discussion of community people powered action. And you should be really proud of the efforts that you put in. And I think no matter what victory laps politicians or elected officials, whoever, and I think they would admit this. In fact, I can tell you for sure that private conversations with municipal and statewide elected officials on this matter have indicated that there's no question that what drove this more than anything else was the people powered movement. So you should congratulate yourself and anyone else out there who's watching their world turn in a direction they don't like. Well, Moms Over Margins showed you how to get it done. So, congratulations. And for Newport's sake, let's hope that this matter is put to bed. It's ridiculous. Let's be honest about it. I mean, I think in a journalistic, holistic evaluation of this, this is pure profiteering. And that's not the kind of world, that's not what Newporters' ethos represents. I mean, yes, there's money being made in Newport. We're not saying that. But we're also saying let people be born in Newport and let's not disrupt the fire department with sending ambulances over the Washington Bridge every day.
Yeah, I think it's a two things just coming off that. Like I think it's so important that I think there's so many issues that are happening around the world or in the country, in your state, in your local community. And I think, as you mentioned, this is like a true testament that like sometimes it feels like your voice is so small, but when you have enough people, your voice can be so loud. And that's such an example of what happened here. Like I think it, in partnership with our local and state government. Like, I think it's fantastic that we were all able to come together, but wow, what a testament to the people coming together. And as far as, closing the birthing center, there's obviously a lot of medical reasons why this would be awful, but I think it would be awful not to mention the incredible care that the nurses and doctors give to mothers and families and babies at Newport Birthing Center. They are award winning, and there is a reason for that. So, um, it's just a true testament as to why it would be horrible to close for a number of reasons.
Yeah, it's just not the right move, and they know that at Brown. Come on, let's be honest
Yeah.
about it. Come on, let's get real. Brooke, here, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as we move forward with this issue.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.